Namaste, namaste, precious, precious souls. Welcome to Book of Life. Here we are in November. Today we're going to be reading from the Fifth Degree, Lesson 3, Loosing the Seals of Silence. So before we begin, just go ahead and place the tip of the tongue on the palate. Be in a nice receptive pose. A little invocation before we begin. To all those that we invoke to all our celestial guides, our angel guides, our spiritual teachers, to the Supreme Being, the Causal Logos. We thank you for your great, great blessings. May we be a channel through which thy holy ones approach the world. May we be a center for the radiation of thy power. Teach us to travel light, that we may better gain the heights, break the bonds that bind. Teach us to give ourselves entirely to thy service, to attune ourselves to thy will. Teach us to lay down the small personal life for the greater cosmic life, and to love with the love of God, with thanks and in full faith. Om Tat Sat Om. Okay. Fifth Degree, Lesson 3, Loosing the Seals of Silence. Communication. It is with some misgivings that we enter these lessons concerning communication with the other side. Many spiritual teachers, ourselves included, have rightly taught that we should seek beyond the psychic, reaching always for the higher unfoldment and allowing the psychic to unfold as a byproduct. Because this is wise counsel, it points toward ultimate perfection, and it may well be that these lessons will reach a wide Astarian membership. The vast mass of seekers ache for knowledge to help them understand life after death, long to reach into the mists that divide the two worlds, and to do their part toward a union. It is with this understanding that we have decided to write concerning communication, knowing full well its dangers as well as its glory. The subject will be dealt with in thoroughness and integrity, as I am able to follow guidance from the master teachers. We are like workers tunneling through a dark mountain, intent on meeting those laboring from the other side, so that we meet happily in the center. We on the earth cannot expect those on the other side to do the entire labor. They must be met halfway. In the decades and generations to come, when souls now unborn look back upon this century, it is our hope that the work of these lessons concerning psychical research will stand as one of the lights. It is not that we offer a new discovery in dealing with communication with the dead, for communication has been a reality throughout the long story of humankind. The folklore of every country is replete with it. Every religion is based upon it. But time and again, all that it implies vanishes with the wind. Now, in this, our present time, when the masses are turning toward mysticism and seeking the answers to life's mysteries, we seek to build upon the foundation and wisdom at the root of all religions and spiritual movements. That foundation is based upon the rock of life after death, psychic phenomena, intuition, and the mysteries of the eternal wisdom. Without question, many persons are apprehensive of psychic phenomena in any form. Some people have an innate terror of the dead. Some have been overwrought by terrifying tales. Some are bound by early teachings that declare such works to be of the devil. To such persons, the entire subject represents an unknown, perilous region. They not only turn away from seeking themselves, but urge others to do the same. It is true, there are perils, but only for the ignorant or for those who will not heed instructions. In knowledge, there is power. There is also safety. Communication with those we love who have passed on is not dangerous if it is properly explained and properly pursued, but seekers must be taught to understand it. Why must I learn to make my own decisions? One of the most obvious dangers is that once one discovers that good advice may be had from spirit loved ones, some on earth, never again seek to make decisions on their own. They constantly consult a medium for guidance on matters which lie within their own domain. Such a practice is not wise, either for the person on earth or for the Etherian. The reason for incarnation on earth is to use one's own powers to further development, nor should those on the other side be expected to always be at the hand to advise us on trivial matters. In this sense, communication is not wise for everyone. Some are simply not ready for it. How does spiritual knowledge help us now? But the Astarian realizes that the more you learn of spiritual life while on earth, the better are you able to meet your problems and to fit yourself for the best possible incarnation. The subject of communication should not be avoided simply because occasionally some people have limited their own growth by relying too much on the advice of others, either on this earth plane or on the other side. There is a wise middle path. There are millions who would not dream of delving into psychic phenomena. To the other extreme, there are many who, once convinced, never make another decision on their own, as stated. In between these two extremes lies the path of wisdom. Were I writing for the general public, I should probably omit a great deal about the subject of communication. But since I write for Astarians, I am fully aware that I write for people who tread the middle path. I have full confidence that you will not deal with the subject unwisely. You will not approach the subject with a foolish curiosity, nor will you look upon it as a devilment. You will put it in its proper place in your life and benefit accordingly. Wisely used, the subject of communication is a great power for good. One of its greatest attractions is that it will bring to the individual absolute certainty about a future life. When our youth turns en masse from orthodox religion, truths of mysticism, and psychic phenomena often to be the anchors which hold them fast to a religious faith, religion without psychic phenomena becomes shallow and frail. Youthful mystics will not accept the dogma of eternal life and hellfire and damnation, nor will they accept the orthodox rendering of vicarious atonement. They seek a religion that aligns itself harmoniously with scientific research, with love, forgiveness, life after death, and an understanding of mystical truths. Astarianry answers this gnawing need and points toward certainty that they never again will lose their faith. These searchers need something in which they can really believe. They are ready for the mystical teachings. They are ready for the deeper truths. Indeed, they are ready for a wise communication system between the planes of existence. How is research a door opener? Thus, in deciding to teach of communication, we are fully aware of being responsible for giving seekers proof of the next life before they pass over. Research into such a subject opens up a wonderful new life. It is our prayer that Astarianry can exercise a wider influence upon the minds and hearts of humankind, so that en masse we all might be led to adopt a higher spiritual aim while still living life on this plane. One purpose is to overcome the widespread indifference concerning the soul and its afterlife. Knowledge of life after death works an inner magic in that intelligent anticipation of future destiny is aroused and nurtured. We have purposely delayed writing about death and the afterlife until later degrees, the better to prepare the Astarian. Our caution has been that in opening the way for communication, we do not do harm by it, but such teachings must become a part of Astarianry. Otherwise, the Astarian does not experience a well-rounded spiritual education. However excellently a subject may be taught, a student may use it unwisely with unfavorable results. We believe the foundation provided by the preceding degrees will enable most Astarians to assimilate and use the following teachings with wisdom and security. Since Astarians are innate seekers of the light, You usually are constantly experiencing a need for something more and more. Bringing the teachings of communication to light at this time will be, for the majority, like bringing something fresh and vital. It will stir new interest in the whole of life. Knowledge of communication is important for the help it will give in a deeper knowledge of God and in attaining self-mastery. Astarianry is not based upon intellectual wrangling, but upon intuitional research. There will be few Astarians who have strayed into agnosticism, but for one and all, we believe teachings concerning communication to be a vital part of one's earth life. The birth of modern communication. How did spiritualism begin? Communications pouring through from the unseen for centuries have done more than any one thing to convince people on earth that there is an afterlife. Beginning with the birth of spiritualism during the latter part of the 19th century, a great spiritual awakening swept the world as communications were received that proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that our loved ones go on living in a world the counterpart of our own, separated only by vibrations and frequencies, that those gone ahead can, under certain circumstances, pierce the veil with messages of comfort, guidance, and love. The era of modern-day psychic communications began in 1848 through crude raps in the home of Mr. and Mrs. John D. Fox in Hydesville, New York. Their young daughters, Margarita, age 12, and Katie, age 9, first heard the raps on the headboard of their bed. After listening for several days, the children decided to play a game with them. Discovering their game, the parents were astounded to detect that behind the raps was a personality that could both see and hear them. The raps responded intelligently to their questions. Cautiously, a plan was formulated to employ letters of the alphabet to spell out words by rapping when the desired letter was called out. What began as rappings on a headboard became rappings which touched the lives of believers everywhere. From this crude beginning, there evolved the phenomenon called table tipping, produced by several persons placing their hands upon a table, preferably a wooden table. Usually, one or two legs were raised by the unseen forces and the table tilted in the air, balanced on the remaining legs. Sometimes the entire table would be elevated and suspended in the air. Using the alphabet, again, the raised leg dropped to the floor when the desired letter was called out, thereby laboriously spelling out messages. One of these two methods evolved the use of the planchette and the Ouija board. The Ouija is a board with letters of the alphabet painted on it. When one or two persons place their fingers upon a small pointed indicator, it often moves from one letter of the alphabet to another, spelling out words. The same is true of the planchette. Can everyone do automatic writing? Out of these methods evolved that of automatic writing. Automatic writing is produced by a person sitting quietly with a pencil in one's hand, the hand resting on a sheet of paper. If the person possesses the necessary chemical constituents in his or her physical makeup, the hand will sooner or later be taken under the control of an unseen being, and the pencil will begin to write. The downpouring of communicative messages from a horde of eager spirits made an impression. These communications were accepted with myriad reactions. Many persons were converted to a belief in life after death. Others scoffed, calling it ridiculous, absurd, a demonological delusion. Familiar spirits, the work of the devil. Some, unable to disprove, dismissed the communications as being ignorant, worthless, devoid of any degree of superior intelligence, common, containing only silly platitudes. Nothing could be farther from the truth, for many of the world's greatest minds turned toward exploring this new challenge. But whether wisdom or worthlessness manifested is hardly the point. The point is that the existence of another world lying unseen about us was proved. With the advent of global wars, there emerged a frenzied determination to reach the brave men and women who had gone over, and vice versa. People who had lost one they loved sought an explanation of death and the afterlife. Under the impact of this two-way force, many time-honored religious dogmas began to be questioned. Interest in all the methods of communication was again renewed, and through these methods have poured communications from the very lowest astral inhabitants to the very highest archangel in heaven. The messages have ranged from pure nonsense to superlative teachings. To dismiss them all as unimportant or fraudulent would be absurd, for some of the teachings have, without doubt, come from very exalted souls. Spirit teachings. Why is repetition necessary in spiritual teachings? According to the teachings of one soul, the discarnate guide of Staten Moses, obtained through automatic writing during the late 1800s, quote, "It is necessary that man be constantly reminded to seek spiritual gifts. We are come to teach, not merely to amuse or astonish, but we cannot teach where man will not be taught. The scanty interest that the higher revelations excite render it very difficult for even the most advanced intelligences to make satisfactory communication with your world. Men care little for being taught. They seek rather to be amused. We do what we can, hampered by many disadvantages, attacked on the one side by the ceaseless machinations of spiritual foes, and hindered from advance on the other by the dead, cold faith of man, or by his undeveloped and unreceptive spirit. We wish we could impress on all friends who come within our influence that in communing in proportion to the loftiness of their aspirations is the character of the spirits who come to them. To the purest may come assault from the adversaries, which their guardians will enable them to repel. Saving this, the law is absolutely without exception. Like attracts like, evil attracts evil. A curious, vain, frivolous, or bad man will draw around him frivolous or undeveloped spirits. But it is at times true equally of the pure and good. They may be subject to attack from the undeveloped, either as part of their training or from the machinations of the adversaries. The voice of the higher spirits communing with the soul is silent, noiseless, and frequently unobserved, felt only in its results, but unknown in its processes. For all inspiration flows directly from Him whom you call God, that is to say, from the great all-pervading Spirit who is in and through and amongst all. You live indeed, as we live, in a vast ocean of spirit from which all knowledge and wisdom flow into the human soul. This is that indwelling of the Holy Spirit of whom it is said in your sacred records, that he dwells with you and shall be in you. This is that great truth spoken of before, that ye are God's, in that ye have within you a portion of that all-pervading, all-informing Spirit, which is the manifestation of the Supreme, the indwelling of God. From this vast realm of spirit, the spirit body is nurtured and sustained. It drinks in its nourishment from it as the physical body is nurtured by the air it breathes. This ether is to the spirit body what the air is to the physical. And from this pervading realm of spirit, all human store of wisdom is derived, principally through the aid of ministering spirits. They drink it in best who are most receptive, most spiritual. Man's individuality must be lost, as yours is now, before truthful and clear instruction can be given. And therefore it is that such messages, so given as we now give this, are the voice of spirit speaking with the minimum of human air admixed. The opening of spiritual being to spiritual influence is what you call mediumship. It must be used for spiritual purposes, not for gain. not for satisfying curiosity, nor for base or unworthy ends. The peculiarity is one of spirit only, not of body, seeing that it occurs in all varieties of physical frames, male and female, magnetic and electric, in the short and robust, as well as in the puny and thin, in the old and the young. This alone would lead you to see it is not a physical matter, and that conclusion is strengthened for you by the fact that the gift is perpetuated even after the death of the earth body. Those who on your earth have been mediums retain the gift and use it with us. They are the most frequent visitors to your world. They communicate most readily, and it is through them that spirits who have not the gift are enabled to communicate with your world. They are mediums for us, as you are for man, referring to Satan Moses. Shall my talents developed here and now be useful over there? And how should I treat spiritual gifts? Remember, all gifts of talent are mediumship, are precious, priceless, helps to progress, to be fostered and tended with prayerful care, or to be abused or prostituted with terrible risk. They do but mean that their possessors live nearer to God, and the angels are more readily impressed by them, more open to assault by evil, more amendable to influence for good, and so to be cared for and protected more earnestly. So far as that may be, leave behind all that is of earth. Quit even the personal views which only hamper us, and reach steadily forward to the enduring and eternal. In most cases, that which is personal ends in the selfish and trivial. With such we have little to do. You ask if it is possible for us to reveal to you truth, and say that the conflicting statements made by spirits lead to the idea that there is no such thing as exact truth, and a waste of time to endeavor to arrive at it. If by truth you mean accurate and precise statements about matters which from their nature transcend human knowledge, then no doubt neither we nor any can reveal to you exact truth, seeing that you are not capable of understanding it. But if you mean as you should a higher revelation of facts concerning man, which will develop his intelligence and raise him to an advanced plane of knowledge, then we have come for no other purpose than to reveal to you such truth. It is the very object of our mission. We come neither to amuse nor to astonish, but only to instruct and develop. All that we do has for its end the revealing of higher and more extended views of truth. A warning: by devoting so much teaching to the other world, it is not to be believed that I would encourage all people to seek irresponsible communications. This is the last thing I suggest. Unless a psychic is properly trained, attempting a contact with the other world can put one in touch with irresponsible and often deceptive spirits. For the untrained, often contact only the lower astral. Pure and true communication is most rare. On our side of life, one should be very positive that one has dedicated one's life to purification and noble purposes, while those on the other side, engaging in constructive communications, must be instructed in a scientific method of procedure. To begin attempting a spirit hunt without proper guidance and protection is foolish, and can become an absolute detriment rather than a blessing to those who engage in it. I most vigorously oppose irresponsible mediumship. It must always be remembered that the lower vibrations of the other world are peopled with the irresponsible, the mischievous, and the highly negative of those who once dwelt in our world. Would you nonchalantly saunter up to someone who regularly engages in very negative and harmful behavior and invite him or her to step into your aura and share your personal magnetism with you? This is exactly what happens when one attempts a development of psychic powers without first learning how to shield oneself from lower, troubled intruders. Unless you seek counsel, instruction, and guidance from someone able to protect you and properly guide you, it would be much better to leave psychic phenomena alone. For the veil is thin between the two worlds, and although we cannot see through it, we can certainly be influenced by it. Having sought such guidance, one must always follow instructions implicitly. When you disregard your teacher's advice to go slow through your unfoldment period and seek other methods of hurrying it along, no teacher can be blamed for any resulting disaster. Are teachers always to blame for disastrous consequences? Having thus given you warning, I have fulfilled my duty as a teacher and can do no more than say that, as eager as the other world is and as eager as we are on this side are to establish proof of eternal life, it is far better to proceed slowly and safely through the first phase of unfoldment than to disregard warnings and to seek swifter results. It is our purpose to see that the Astarian becomes as familiar as possible with the universe in which we have our being. If we know about the experiences awaiting us, the learning, the fun, the dilemmas, then the supernatural no longer seems that which is fearsome and mysterious. Astarians learn to think of the supernatural as the natural estate of the university of life, where we continue our existence mingling among the great minds, the prophets, the sages. Those who fear graduating into the university are like the small youngsters who are terrorized at beginning school for fear of abuse from the giant adults who instruct. Once they discover their fears to be groundless, school becomes an adventure. Why should I want to explore the other world? Many who have overcome fear still feel uneasy concerning points not clear to them, and rightly so. It is natural to be wary of that which awaits one when such knowledge seems beyond discovering. Some flippantly dismiss seeking by thinking, "What I don't know won't hurt me." Not so, Astarians. We are seeking because we believe the opposite. It's what we don't know that does hurt us. Ignorance of divine laws will not change the laws. It becomes expedient for us to become familiar with the laws of the world next door, the better to be a good citizen and a scholar in its university of life. It has not been difficult to learn of life in general over there. The law that remains the mystery is that of communication itself between the two worlds. So many factors are involved, and so few succeed. It is extremely difficult to establish set rules and formulate definite processes by which success can be assured. Communication answers to no laboratory formulas, no common basis for certainty. There seems to be no set, always successful way to achieve communication, for such depends upon the individuals involved. Such a circumstance opens the field for charlatans and fraud. Long ago, the leaders of Christendom affirmed that Holy Writ had pronounced the last word on heavenly wonders when Genesis declared that God had made the heavens and the earth, and the greater light ruled by day and the lesser by night. Along came Galileo, who, following the theories of Copernicus, declared that the earth and other planets moved around the sun instead of Earth being the center of the universe. That was in 1616. Is truth always accepted wholeheartedly? The church rose up in alarm. Galileo was imprisoned and tried by the Inquisition, which condemned him to be burned at the stake unless he recanted. He did, for which he was allowed to remain alive only on condition that he retire from scientific research. He went into exile from 1616 until 1637, enduring a useless, humiliating existence. 21 years of retirement for daring to be a scientist. Since that unhappy time, science has moved outside theology to formulate great scientific principles which have transformed theories into organized, coded studies. We know now a great deal about the science of the heavens, yet psychic phenomena stand today only a little in advance of where Galileo stood then. We have a song to sing, but orthodoxy brands us false. Like science, we have moved outside the prohibitions of theology, though we know this search to be a spiritual one. We want to establish, as did science, a formula, a coded study of the mysteries of life, death, and the way of life after death. Is it not time that both theology and science pause to listen? The theories of Galileo, once formulated into a workable study, changed the entire structure of our concept of the universe. The theories of mysticism, once formulated, could prove to be far more important to humanity. It's not that mysticism ever sought such a victory, it's that the incoming light seekers just won't accept eternal damnation anymore, nor the entire scheme of theology's salvation. So, since millions are now cut adrift from dogma, it's time we, in the vanguard of New Age mysticism, offered some kind of workable formula to help turn our theories into coded studies. You cannot denounce dogma without having something better to offer. Thus, we now enter a most important period of study. It has already been admitted that our theories cannot yet be transformed into scientific formulas, that fundamental laws of intercommunication have not been established, either from our side or the other side. Like Galileo, all we want is for our theories to be considered instead of denounced. We want mysticism, religion, and science to join hands in a venture opening up a vast new frontier for the study of one's body, mind, consciousness, life force, soul, spirit, death, and life after death. Mysticism has long carried the search alone. But now, scientists, religious leaders, and leaders in other fields have joined our ranks. Whether mysticism can forge ahead with answers to myriad questions abounding, who can say? Certainly, it would seem to await a partnership with scientists, doctors, nurses, psychics, the seeker who is determined to contact a lost loved one, all who believe in angels. This partnership is coming together now in this exciting spiritualized time. These people who, like Galileo, will venture beyond the pale of orthodoxy to chart new worlds in unseen space. So many questions surge upon us the moment we open the quest. It could seem to be another Pandora's box. Pandora was a beautiful but deceitful goddess sent to earth by the gods to avenge the theft of the fire of heaven stolen by Prometheus. Pandora brought with her a mysterious box. Some say that when she opened it, she released upon humanity all its ills, with hope being the sole blessing. Others say she released a box of blessing, all of which escaped save that of hope. We believe she released both, and our box, like Pandora's, contains both dangers and blessings, but more hope than we have ever known. The quest we propose has far more to offer in blessings than in ills, if the human race will only keep hope for truth foremost. What are some of the questions needing scientific exploration? 1. How do we on this plane cooperate to assure the best means of success in psychic communication? 2. What forces are harnessed in such communications? Electricity, cosmic rays, ether, gamma rays? 3. If one spirit can communicate, why cannot all? 4. Is it always necessary to operate through a psychic, a medium, a sensitive? 5. Do psychics possess a built-in receiving set by which, if developed, all persons might use extended sense perception to contact the other side? Why the delay? If we on Earth can be persuaded to cooperate properly, intercommunication between the two worlds can become a living reality. Two questions may well be asked. Why have those on the other side not broken the barrier before now if their senses and powers are so enhanced? What has delayed communion all these centuries while death brought grief, sadness, and loss to people on earth? One answer is that many on earth have prevented the opening of the door. Another is that freedom to reach us with communications is open to all alike, and those on the lower planes find greater accessibility to earth minds than do those from higher planes. Thus, a grave danger has existed. Why can I not believe every spirit? Usually, those who want to communicate are those who have newly arrived in the next dimension, and they actually know very little of the scientific laws governing safe contact. But they return in droves, airing their ignorance in a confusion of tongues worse than Babel. They are both most welcomed and heeded by people here on earth. Both the sincere and the mischievous earthbound spirits readily return. Let us try to see communication as it often works from the other side, the better to understand why the doorway between the two worlds has not more rapidly opened. Let us say there are thousands, even millions, who desire nothing better than to return to give their message of eternal life to someone on earth. Let us say that Joe Smith finally locates a group or circle of developing psychics through whom he can communicate to establish his identity. Do psychics possess a built-in receiving set by which, if developed, all persons might use extended sense perception to contact the other side? First of all, Joe Smith will be required to endure long and complicated methods to prove he is Joe Smith, and that he comes as a messenger from the other side. He must struggle to produce evidence that he is not the figment of someone's subconscious memory. Having established this point, he is next required to offer proof as to his identity. When Joe Smith begins to believe the struggle is won and he is ready to begin his teachings, the group brings in newcomers and the process begins all over again. People seem far more interested in demanding proof of identity than in listening quietly to invaluable teachings. Once the instruction is begun, the teacher is frequently met on every hand by challenges, until, at the last, the most enlightened eventually withdraw, drained completely of their early enthusiasm to convince those on earth of the wonders of that awaiting world. Shallow interests receive no deep responses. Thus, we on earth have greatly added to the problem. Many have been so busy demanding that Uncle John prove he is Uncle John that opportunities for enlightenment have been overlooked. Instead of relating something constructive to us, Uncle John has been forced to answer the demand to recall what he said when he gave Junior a bicycle on a certain Christmas, or some child guide has been chided for pulling someone's hair to make her presence known several days previously. Everyone who asks receives just what he asks for. Criticism of proof of identity is not being derided. The point is that the demand for proof remains constant, followed by small talk that appears inconsequential when compared to deep spiritual teachings. Earth has been content with finding the pot at the end of the rainbow instead of the gold it might have had. Generally, people have not welcomed philosophers, teachers, or scientists from the other side. Thus, those from upper realms have been shut out, while those on lower planes have left us with a century of considerable confusion and inconsequentials. These have not been without their value. Certainly, they have called attention to the existence of psychic phenomena worthy of further investigation. A necessary and basic work has built a foundation upon which the entire structure of spirituality may be erected. What now needs to be done is for both sides to determine that future inquiry does not cease here. It cannot be relegated to the level of amusement, curiosity, or fortune telling. It is within these categories that the dangers exist. The other side has had to await Earth's readiness for knowledge, and Earth in turn must now fulfill her obligation. Heaven can send down manna, but Earth must prepare better vessels to hold it. The skies can deliver rain, but unless Earth prepares larger reservoirs, it drains away. Wisdom can descend to us only if there are fertile minds and hearts to seek and receive it. With the dawning of Aquarius, Etheria prepares to open channels to reach our eager Earth. A downpouring from the upper realms is planned with the power to cast aside mischief makers from the lowlands, since Earth has gradually readied her humanity for such a transition. With the coming of proven afterlife, the religions of the world face stupendous changes. When science suddenly builds a satellite which tunes in voices from heaven, incredulous orthodoxy must take a giant leap forward or be utterly forsaken by swift moving progress. What are requisites of a reliable channel? Earth must provide men and women of strong mental, spiritual, and moral natures to act as channels. Etheria must find ministering teachers among those free from all earth attractions and simultaneously wise enough and honest enough to teach of Etheria, its world and laws exactly as they are. Therefore, when we ask why have those who could so help the world not returned to accomplish such a purpose, we understand that it is for the same reason we have not yet conquered speedy space travel to distant galaxies, the lack of suitable instruments. If great scientists who have passed over could have the psychic services of a few sensitive Earth scientists as ready and suitable channels or instruments, intercommunion would be established very shortly. As it is, scientists of Earth are bent upon other research. No great mind is available to the other side. Hence, discoveries tending toward communication must be accidental, impressed upon the consciousness in spite of disbelief or effort. Let Earth scientists once glimpse the possibilities such of such a stupendous frontier, and research will rapidly advance toward that glorious era of heaven on earth. Surely the time has now arrived on this threshold of a new age when, by common consent, a definite attempt should be made to understand and overcome the difficulties existing on both sides. A deliberate, planned effort should be made to overcome obstacles and establish rules by which such communion might be successfully repeated. A need to be needed. There are people on earth who, believing in the existence of the hereafter, assert that it is wrong to disturb those who have gone before. They think it is wrong to call them back and ask their help. These display little understanding of the actual laws at work in both worlds, for there is a unity between the worlds, as well as between inhabitants of each. It should be obvious that those on the other side would not return if such a contact caused suffering. Such a return is never compulsory, it is from choice. What is life for, both here and over there? The principal purpose of existence is soul progression, more so even on the other side than this. There is a desire and even a need for those who have passed over to return to help those left behind. To willfully refuse their help is to deny them their greatest opportunity for service. Indeed, it was for this very purpose that Jesus and the other avatars of all religions came from the higher realms, taking on human form, the better to serve. This is not to say that we should not use the very fullest of our own highest potential. It is only that it should be supplemented with a prayerful and responsive attitude toward any inspiration which might come from above. What is very wrong is refusing to make daily decisions without seeking advice from the other side. And certainly, this is not what is meant when I say we should give them opportunities to help us. We must not embroil them in our daily problems. This would be an injustice and cause for their resentment. They do have other work to perform, other progress to make, other lessons to learn. But being remembered and being asked for assistance with inspiration and guidance in important matters gives them opportunity to exercise the powers they are seeking to unfold. Admonishment for the pilgrim. So far as Astarians are concerned, Zoser will admonish the new pilgrim that he or she must overcome the desire to become involved in the mundane activities of those of us left behind, which would in turn deny us the soul-building opportunities we came to earth to learn. The pilgrim must not seek to sway people's decisions except where unwarranted suffering would result if one did not. People on earth should be contacted mostly as a guiding light, not as an influence which would stay their wills and persuade them in the direction of Etherian desires. To become too much involved robs both. It causes the Etherian to divert too much attention earthward and lose opportunities for spiritual advancement. It robs us on this plane of opportunities to assert our own will, make our own mistakes, build our own karmic record. To answer the prayers of those on earth with love and guidance does not mean to become completely involved in their day-by-day existence. For people here to forget or not call upon those who have gone before is cruel, for it causes them to feel rejected and deserted when they need a warm feeling of being remembered. But human beings, in praying and calling to the departed for help, should be aware that they have duties to perform, and to do this promiscuously and expect one to become involved in details of every mundane decision is unfair and unwise. Etherians, while needing to be free to carry on their own lives, want to be remembered with love. They want to lend guidance in major decisions. Above all, they simply want to be remembered as being. Between two who share a deep and abiding love, there can be no question of calling back. The one who has gone into the unseen spheres can never turn his or her attention from earth, nor could the one of earth put away the thoughts and memories of the one gone ahead. Regardless of spiritual adventures and learning, the mind and heart of the Etherian will persistently turn earthward, while the person on earth will keep the love bonds glowing until they meet again. Remaining near the one left will not cause a delay in spiritual progress, for love is the fulfilling of the law. In eternity, there is always time for love, and love's fulfillment. In love, 1,000 years are as a day. This will be continued in Lesson 4. One act, 1,000 ripples. If you make one person happy each day, in 10 years, you'll have made 3,650 persons happy and brightened a small town by your contribution to the light of the world. In this same way, your spiritual studies will eventually multiply 1,000-fold your daily investment of time and thought, bringing you an unimaginable inner reward and satisfaction. In Lesson 4, Fifth Degree Across the Borderline, you can learn answers to many questions of the Spirit. Can rituals produce communion with the divine? Why is spiritual truth not always accepted? What remains unchanged by death? Are all psychics spiritual? Do angels laugh? And that will be as we get into Lesson 4, Across the Borderline, in December. Can you believe it? Wild, wild, wild. Well, thank you very much for joining, and we will end with the Astarian blessing for the month of November. So just go ahead and close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a beautiful ball of light. And you are this light within every cell and the space surrounding every cell, every atom, and the space surrounding every atom. I am surrounded, enfolded, embraced by the pure white light. May emanations of spiritual power enfold us in the light of love and the atmosphere of creative expression. May the dynamic power of infinite life blend with our objectives and aspirations and help us bring them to fruition. Before God in the highest, we place our concerns of this day, of this moment. We ask that they be touched by the divine Spirit, in whose presence these burdens are lightened. In our mind and heart are the simple requests of a seeker after divine light. May we gain strength to shoulder the responsibilities in the world. Tat tat so, tat tat so, tat tat so. We are surrounded, enfolded, and embraced by the pure white light of unconditional love. For God is love, and love is God. Only good can come to us. Only good shall go from us. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks. Physicalize, physicalize, physicalize. Release and surrender any reluctance to this pure white light. May any and all memories or soul fragments having to do with the lower aspects, may these be cleansed and purified and washed clean in the pure white light and return to the higher soul, the oversoul, in the form of unconditional love. So be it. Enjoy the blessings. Continue this with your day, your morning, your night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. We'll see you tomorrow for blessing the prayer petitions. I recognize, honor, and salute the divinity within you all. Namaste, precious souls. Thank you so, so much for being on the journey and for being Astarians and for joining us. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take good care. Bye.